Hey, I'm Adam Post, publisher of College of the Dead, publisher of The Mermaids, publisher of more than 1,000 independent comic books over 35 years. And this is a cool article. As if we didn't have enough information on this, but this is coming from Newsarama. This is another reason why Marvel Comics and the big companies generally don't need comic book stores, are not concerned about comic book stores, are not focused on comic book stores, and will do whatever they want to do with comics and comic book stores, almost at random. It's like it's a plaything to them. This is an announcement. This has been out now for a day or two. Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, Shuri, and new graphic novels from Scholastic and Marvel. So Scholastic, what is that? Scholastic is this publishing company that distributes to schools. Scholastic has been distributing books to schools, children's books, graphic novels in the last few years. They've started their own graphic novel publishing, but they've been distributing them to schools one at a time with book club purchases, with book sales. It's almost like if you're a parent, you certainly know about this. They have these events where it's like, hey, it's time to buy books or else. They kind of make everybody buy books. So this has been going on. I didn't know about this even first as a parent. I knew about this as a child. I've been around a while. I'm 50 years old now. So in elementary school, we were buying Scholastic books. I can remember like the little newsprint catalogs they would give us. So why this took so long to happen, I have no idea. I guess people were worried about other things. But yes, finally, Marvel has been working with Scholastic to sell Marvel's characters in unique books just for Scholastic to sell through Scholastic's unique distribution. Nobody can match the distribution that Scholastic has for what it is that they specifically do. And Scholastic has licensed their own titles that they publish, but they also do licensed titles and cooperate with other publishers, which when they do, it's incredibly profitable for them. I know that they've carried some books from Paper Cuts, which is another children's graphic novel publisher. And when they do, obviously, if they decide to pick something up, like the Smurfs or Geronimo Stilton or one of those other titles, they buy huge, huge numbers of these things. So they're going to do more with Marvel, though. So, okay, let's find out more about this. So less than a year into their partnership, Marvel and Scholastic are expanding their plans for original projects with a line of middle-grade original graphic novels, OGN. So what's an OGN? OGN is just literally that, an original graphic novel. That's what it stands for, and it's produced for whatever that specific market is. Or, like, for example, even Dynamite recently released an original graphic novel through Indiegogo, which basically means that it was all new material designed for that market. So OGNs are pretty common, actually. All right, so following up on their recently launched line of prose novels, Scholastic will be publishing Marvel OGNs starring Miles Morales as Spider-Man, Kamala Khan as Ms. Marvel, Shuri, and more. These will be published as part of Scholastic's graphics media imprint, sister to its graphics imprint. So, this is great for whatever their social justice agenda is. They're not going to be concerned about any kind of history. If you've sort of heard of Spider-Man before, you've seen the movies, played with the toys, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They're going to just do whatever version that they feel will push whatever social agenda it is they want to do, and they'll make a bunch of money doing it. And what's great for Marvel is they don't even have to think about doing it. They've got this company, Scholastic, who will write them a licensing check and just say, hey, we'd just like to give you some money if that's okay. And all they have to do is say yes and take the money. Maybe Kamala Khan will make an effort. Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. So maybe Kamala Khan's a character, but whatever. Whoever it was that created Marvel's Kamala Khan version of Ms. Marvel, maybe Marvel will say, listen, we want more of this or more of that. But we know what this is leading to. We know what kind of content they're going to do. So this is a nice quote from Lauren Bissam. Ever since he entered the Marvel Universe a few years ago, Miles has struck a deep and personal chord with fans around the world. Fans around the world! Everybody's asking about Miles. Marvel Entertainment's editor of Juvenile Publishing, Lauren Bissam, says of the announcement, as Spider-Man, he embodies that classic coming-of-age story, but as Miles, he represents so much more. How can he represent so much more? Because a classic coming-of-age story is, like, that's Spider-Man's whole thing, as he's learning his responsibility. He's dealing with his personal life challenges. He's trying to figure out his place in the world. That obviously transcends what the color of his skin is, or what he ate for breakfast, or what his family was doing in their previous generation right before he was born. But as Lauren says, as Spider-Man, he embodies the classic coming-of-age story, but as Miles, he represents so much more. And his life experiences, his culture, and his ability to embrace his inner strength. Embrace his inner strength? I don't know, like that's what a hero does when they decide to sacrifice themselves for a greater good or invest themselves in doing something right. Kind of like working in Comicsgate. In any case, it makes him one of the most important, I don't know who the other ones are, but one of the most important and inspirational heroes in the Marvel Universe. So, okay, agenda-driven content distributed by Scholastic. We get it. Scholastic's Marvel Graphics Media line will kick off in spring 2021 with Miles Morales' Shockwaves from writer Justin Reynolds and artist Pablo Leon. The art looks fine. Looks nice, stylistic. In Miles Morales' Shockwaves, Miles Morales is a normal school kid who happens to juggle school at Brooklyn's Visions Academy while swinging through the streets of Brooklyn. He just happens to, as Spider-Man. Reads Scholastic's description of the OGN. After a disastrous earthquake strikes his mother's birthplace of Puerto Rico, Miles springs into yes, I know how to say Puerto Rico the right way. Miles springs into action to help set up a fundraiser for the devastated island. He's a teenager who's springing into action to help with a fundraiser. Okay. But when a new student's father goes missing, now he's finding missing parents? Miles begins to make connections between the disappearance and a giant corporation sponsoring the fundraiser. What? Okay. Who is behind the disappearance and how does that relate to Spider-Man? Maybe it's because of racism. I don't know. I'm just guessing. That'll be followed by Kamala Khan. I forget the name of the person that created Kamala Khan, but it's very funny because I almost want to say Kamala Khan, but it's whatever. Okay, OGN writer Nadia Shamas and Shuri, OGN writer, original graphic novel again. The titles and artists were not announced. I'm really very sorry, but basically it's going to look like this. Okay, I can tell you that. You don't have to worry about it. And it might also look like this one, which I'm looking forward to talking about in just a minute. Okay. Our relationship with Marvel's publishing team is a true collaboration and partnership. I mean, whatever. Scholastic's Vice President and Publisher Licensing and Media Brands, Deborah Dorfman, says. I like that last name, Dorfman. As we grow our OGN list in licensing under graphics media, we can't think of a better team to work with. I mean, you can think about it, but okay, she can't. How lucky are we to have Justin Reynolds and Pablo Leon collaborating on the first book about Miles Morales? Honestly, I don't know. I've never heard of them. It could just be me, though. We are equally as thrilled to welcome Nadia Shamas and Roseanne Brown to Scholastic. Okay, congratulations for them. Now, the prose novels are clever. I mean, like, it's just prose. It's just words. It's a story about Spider-Man. How easy could it be to just be like, all right, well, it's Spider-Man. Everyone knows what it is. It's Scholastic. They're going to force kids to buy these books whether they want them or not. But it's just words. It's just a story. With their proprietary distribution, meaning the distribution that only Scholastic has, okay, that's pretty easy. So now they're going to add art and story to it through graphic novels. Just as easy for them to do. So why they didn't do this at least 20 years ago, I have no idea. They'll make money. But again, this is why, what do they care if you like the current issue of Spider-Man or X-Men. It's completely irrelevant to Marvel. It's completely irrelevant to Disney. Their focus is, well, if we just let people do whatever they want to do with these popular characters that were recently even more popularized by movies, we'll make tons of money and everyone gets bonuses and who cares? And that's what goes into producing Marvel Comics now. That's why you should support independent creators and support particularly Comicsgate, because we're doing projects that we're passionate about, and we're doing projects that if you don't like them, we're not going to be able to do more of them. That's the way it is in reality. We're not owned by Disney. We're independents. All right, back to the article. Scholastic's prose novel Shuri, a Black Panther novel, was released back in May, with another one, Avengers Assembly Orientation, to follow in August. That line will continue according to the two publishers, okay? With new and sequel novels, I admire the sequels. You got me with that. To be announced at a later date. I love sequels because once someone has shown interest in something and they like it, it's absurd to not give them more of the same unless it's really disrespectful to the content and the story from the creator. After launching our prose novels with Scholastic earlier this year, we've seen a huge demand for more Marvel stories and entry points into the Marvel universe. Marvel's VP of Licensing Publishing, Sven Larsen, says. Who the hell is Sven Larsen? First of all, does he have a cool name? Yes, he does. Is that the most interesting thing about him? No. Sven Larsen has been at Marvel for decades. He left Marvel for a little while. He's kind of an old hand. He's just been around forever with he knows a lot about Marvel. He knows a lot, has a lot of industry contacts. I don't know if he put this deal together or not. I know he was at Paper Cuts for a while, the children's book publisher, a graphic novel publisher, and now he's bounced back to Marvel. So good for him. He should be making good money over at Marvel working for Disney. These middle grade OGNs are the perfect next step to bring more readers in with visual storytelling Marvel fans know and love. Well said, Sven. I like his quotes. We're thrilled to build our collaboration with Scholastic and tell brand new stories that represent the world around us. Okay, so Sven is... Yes, Sven. Sven lives matter. Both through our characters and the creative teams behind them. We can't wait. So basically Sven's like, listen, whatever you want. Just write the check. We're good to go. You're justifying the Marvel characters without Marvel having to actually produce something that they would sell to someone else. So good for them. It's just licensing. We can't wait to introduce you to this next chapter for Marvel's heroes. Why don't you introduce some new heroes and leave these old ones alone? That is the question. Now, this is written by this guy, Chris Arendt. Chris did a great job on this article, although I think he's trying to look a little bit too much like John Malin. That I do have an issue with. You tell me. If he wants to be John Malin, he can be John Malin. Hat? Almost. Beard? Almost. Eyes? Maybe. But the first thing he needs to do is flip himself in the other direction. I am used to seeing John Malin from this direction. Tell me what you think of Chris trying to look like John Malin and what you think of Marvel no longer needing to sell comics to people that actually like comics. Also, check out my book, College of the Dead. Man, this has been going fantastic. The sequel has done amazing. We've done like a huge amount more in sales than we did from the first book, and we are working hard on the sequel, College of the Dead Spring Break. We're going to announce that as soon as it's complete because my books are done when I offer them. I like having books ready to deliver for when you order them. This shipped in June 2020. We still have some copies left if you want to check it out. We ship them immediately. Also coming up soon, The Mermaids. It's like Game of Thrones with mermaids. The most developed fantasy epic that Comicsgate has seen yet. It's got more than 30 characters. It's an entire self-contained fantasy world. I have developed more than one fantasy world before in my publishing history, and I'm really happy to be bringing this to Comicsgate. A very, very cool collaborative project with some really, really cool people. It's a long story. I'll do another video on it. This is what the sign-up looks like. Oh, and just some of the interior art. These are some of the covers for Mermaids. This is by Javier. This is a special cover from one of the original character designs by Jerry Gatrudia. Unbelievable, beautiful artwork. And these are just some of the interior pages. This is a really, really well done, classy well thought out project that is complete and will be shipping on time in October 2020. And I just want to throw this in here. This is one of the things I really like to do. I'm going to give you a link to these guys. I don't know these guys. I've never worked with them. Their feedback is good on eBay, but I love looking at comic book collections. So if you're into comic book collections, check these guys out. Like, this is one of their current listings. Look at this Neil Adams collection of comics these guys are offering. Look how classic this stuff is. But if you look at their listing, I really like listings. I like neat stuff. I like what they're doing. It's just fun to see like a huge collection of comics. Check their feedback if you want to do any business with them. I don't know if they're, I mean, they seem like very reputable people. I just love checking out their listings and kind of watching them. They usually end on Sundays. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.